want to give you a warm welcome here, and it's Vikas Chopra. I'm just double checking on where we left off from with regards to our last program. So it's Vikas Chopra here, Training for Development, and I just want to say, give you a warm welcome, to say thank you very much to listening into the program. Apparently, I'm just double checking on the sound because I had some sound issues on the last program, so I'd like to apologise for that. Just double checking everything's okay, and it seems as if it is. Which is great. Now, what I want to say is today we're going to start changing our program on a Saturday. So from a Friday, I'm going to start programming. My Friday program is going to change to a Saturday, and the Wednesday program is going to remain the same. That's what we're going to do. That's what we're planning to do. Today, we're talking about we're going to be talking about first aid for mental health. That's the conversation today. That's what we need to talk about. First aid is very, very high on the agenda with regards to people suffering. So we're going to talk a little bit about first aid for mental health. And those of you that haven't seen me on a Saturday, I'm going to say to you, give you a warm welcome for tuning in. The program every Saturday at 1 o'clock will be training for employment and personal development with Vikas Chopra, and that's me. And I'll be going through a list of options that you have available to yourself with regards to personal development and training for free. So it's a program that's well worth listening into, and I've had some good feedback from various customers that have asked me about programs available in the local area, programs available for people in the West Midlands areas, and programs available to develop you, and I'll talk about its applicability. But today, on the last program I did, I had some issues with the sound, so I apologise for that, and I want to cover what I didn't cover on the last program. So training for development and personal development and employment, that is the name of the program. Every Saturday at 1 p.m. we'll be here. Vikas Chopra, my email address is excellencetrain@outlook.com. So if you want to contact me, or if you want to, give me some feedback, that's fine as well. If you want to give me some feedback with regards to how you think the program's going, that's fine as well too. So, coming to today's session, who we are. We're all about training. We're all about personal development. My question to you, good afternoon. Are you all about development? Do you think about doing things, any kind of tasks that you might have, a little bit more easier? Are you into doing things a bit more tactfully? Do you reevaluate and self-examine how you perform daily tasks to make your life a bit more easier? Well, that's what this program is kind of all about, to make you think about the way you're doing things, to make you think about your personal development, to make you think about your training. So that's what we're all about. It's excellence training. We do coaching, training and recruitment, and we help people back to work. We work with employers, but today we are going to be talking about mental health first aid. Mental health first aid is an invaluable subject area. Yes, we are living in the COVID time period. Yes, there are a lot of people affected by what's going on. And yes, there is additional support needed for individuals that may be suffering, or people that may be finding things a little bit difficult. So that's what we're going to talk about today. And I'm going to give some pointers out on specifics. Now, in the past few programs, I've talked about first aid for mental health in the past, and I've noticed that I know that I haven't got into content. So today will be one of those days where I'm going to start going into some content of what you're going to find on the program. I'm going to go into some content with in connection with signs and symptoms of what we can look for, and how we can potentially help other people that have issues with mental health first aid. Now, so what I'm going to say is, if you decide to come on this program, and it is absolutely free if you decide to come on the program, and if you decide to contact me, it's Vikas on 07932 604705. If you are from the West Midlands areas and you want to do this program for absolutely free, no charge whatsoever, you can get in touch with me. Either leave me a message in the box, or you can contact me on the number that I've given, and I will post it out a bit later on as well. So you are welcome to sort of come on a free program here. So what we generally cover on the mental health first aid program is I'll go through some of the outcomes that and modules that we're going to be covering. Not today all in all, but we will be covering. So we'll be covering what is first aid for mental health. People think about the word first aid. People think about the word mental health. What is first aid for mental health? Well, do you know what a first aider is? Well, it's a mental health first aider we're talking about here. Someone that is responsible within your organization for one's mental health. We'll be covering elements on what that specifically means on the course program. We will be looking at identification of certain mental health conditions that you need to be aware of in the workplace so you can support your colleagues. We'll be looking at maybe in the past you've had some kind of difficulty talking to someone, maybe having a difficult conversation with someone that is suffering or someone that is struggling. We'll be looking at, on the program, if you come on this program, you will learn how to have the difficult conversation. We will do a role play to make sure you completely understand what mental health first aid is all about, so that you can learn to have that difficult conversation and support the people that you need to support. We'll also be looking at stress. What is stress? What's the definition of stress? Well, the truth is, most people don't know what it is. All right. We'll be looking at drugs and alcohol and their impacts on mental health. We'll be looking at a mental health first aid action plan. If you are an employer and you want to implement that within your organization, we'll be talking about that mental health first aid action plan that you can make. And we're talking about generically mental health in the workplace. And that's what we're going to cover on this course. And also it'll help you to notice things. It's going to help you to, this course program is going to help you to notice maybe certain aspects of behaviors that you hadn't thought about before. Maybe certain types of signs and symptoms, make you more prepared to be able to deal with those. All right, so my question to you is, how can you become aware of more mental health issues? How can you become more aware of it? Now, there was a scenario where a worker had said, he emailed a group and said, this is the last time you're going to see me. This is the last time you're going to see me, and I know, he said, I know you all hate me. Does that sound familiar? By the way, aren't we good at creating a lot of rubbish in our heads? Yeah? Aren't we good at creating stuff like this? I know he doesn't like me. I know this guy hates me. I know the manager doesn't like the way I work. I just don't get on with him because he doesn't like me, hence I don't. How do you know? My question to you is, how do you know? Now, don't we sometimes claim to know someone's feelings when we don't really know them? And how much of an impact does that have on your thinking faculties? So anyway, this young man who I'm talking about, he had 2 children. He's only young. He said, "This is the last time you're going to see me." I don't need to say too much about that, but this young man did go on to taking his own life. And the fact of the matter was, he was going through a minor disciplinary. So hence, thinking about mental health first aid and how serious it is, thinking about suicides, etc., and how serious they are, thinking about sometimes, we might be thinking something's a joke, we're having a laugh and a joke with someone, they might take it really, really seriously. So my conversation to you is, just be aware of what you're doing and saying with your words and actions in the workplace. Excuse me. Another young man that I used to work with, well, this young man that I worked with in the past, all of a sudden I hear that he's taken his own life. That's what's actually happened. Trying to find out what's actually happened. And one of his friends turned around and said he lived on the inside. He lived on the inside. How many of us sometimes live on the inside? How many people do you really know? How many people do you think you really know? I really know what goes on the inside. Please consider, yeah? Another scenario where he rang two people on that day, his sister, and he rang somebody else. On that day he made the phone call. He made the phone call for support. He made the phone call for help. But guess what happened? None of them answered. What did he do? It's a foregone conclusion. He took his own life. So in terms of mental health first aid, I'm going to go through some aspects of and factors that we can look at that can affect a person's mental health. Now I'm going to say to you, do you know what they are? What do you think can affect someone's mental health? What do you think affects someone's mental health? You tell me. If you know the answer to that question, I'm going to go through it, but I want you to tell me what can affect someone's mental health. What affects people? All right? What affects you on a daily basis? I'm going to go through a few things here. Abuse. Abuse is a big thing. Emotional abuse, physical abuse, mental abuse can affect someone's mental health. Trauma. Certain types of traumas can affect someone's mental health. What kind of trauma has this person gone through? You know, I met somebody over in Wales when I was delivering and we were doing first aid, and he'd killed 3-4 people. They run them over. He skidded. And he was on that course. He was struggling to do CPR. He was struggling to do CPR. All because of what he'd gone through. So trauma, neglect, loneliness is a big thing. Loneliness. How many people do you know that might be a bit lonely? Do you check up on them? I know people are going around giving meals to people. Are they doing welfare checks though? Are we making sure that people are being looked after? Are we doing our duty? I mean, some people say sometimes, I don't even know what my calling is. What is your calling? What do you think your calling is? What have you been called to do on the earth? And I'll say to you, if you see something that impacts you, if you see something that affects you, if you see someone in distress, if you see someone